A House of Dynamite is directed by Kathryn Bigelow, a name that I'm sure you guys haven't heard in a while because it's been a minute since she released her last movie, Detroit, which was in 2017. So after 8 years, she is returning to directing. So naturally, this is a movie that I was very interested in watching because I couldn't wait to see what she'd cooked up here. This movie stars Rebecca Ferguson, Idris Elba, Tracy Letts, Gabriel Basso, Anthony Ramos, amongst many others. And it tells the story of a situation that the country is put into when it seems like a missile is heading in their direction. The missile has been launched from God knows where, no idea where it's going to land at first. And essentially what you're seeing is a lot of different characters in different levels of the government responding to the situation and trying to figure out what to do with a very, very limited amount of time on hand. Kathryn Bigelow is no stranger to making movies that are, socio-political thrillers or military thrillers. She's done that before with her previous few movies like Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, and Detroit. And the movies like that where you're looking at situations which are very tense or, even, true stories, if you will, seeing how all of those play out, they make for some very visceral experiences as well. And with A House of Dynamite over here, I feel like she very much does continue the trend of putting you into these very intense gridlock situations along with the characters who are on screen. You really feel like every single thing that's happening, you are very much with them, and it's very gripping stuff. It's a very edge of your seat kind of thriller, and it's very well directed overall. There's not a single moment in this where I felt like, anything happened in terms of the pacing dropping or anything like that. And I think that's also to do with Kirk Baxter's editing, who is a legend when it comes to this. He does a really great job of making sure that this movie is constantly moving. And as again, the minutes are counting down and you're trying to see everyone trying to come up with some kind of a solution to this problem, even though it feels like there is a potential inevitability to this that they have to consider that, hey, what if this missile lands? What if we get hit with something and we have to deal with it? What happens? And it's like this whole doomsday scenario is brought to life in this way that it feels hopeless almost. And the way that it's done, again, just keeping it relentlessly moving, it makes for, again, a very tense experience, like I said. The entire cast over here is great. Rebecca Ferguson, I thought was really great as per usual. I thought she did a very good job. She's at the White House and she's trying to monitor the situation from there. And, it's again, very, very tense stuff. Idris Elba, who plays the president in the movie, he's also doing a really good job over here. And again, the situation is unfolding and he is being faced with this difficult choice of what to do, and the fact that, if they decide to retaliate, what it could lead to. Again, very tensely executed work from him. And I really like Tracy Letts as well. He's in the middle of the action as well as a general, and how he is also just breaking down the reality of it, where it's like, look, this isn't a situation where you can think, okay, you can't have a lot of decisions. You have to give a decision. You have to make certain things happen, as difficult as they might be, and the consequences of all of that. I think everybody, even in the supporting cast, from Gabriel Basso, who I thought was really great in the movie, to characters like, Jared Harris's character, I thought everybody did a very, very good job over here. Greta Lee shows up as well for a couple of moments, which is the second movie this weekend I've seen with Greta Lee, the other one being Tron Ares. So yeah, I think everybody does a good job. The score from Volker Bertelmann, the man who did movies like All Quiet on the Western Front and Conclave, he did a really great job over here with the score. It's incredibly ominous and it really has this dreading sense to how it all unfolds. And it's also a very well shot movie. It's very much close quarters, a lot of it, but it really just keeps you, again, locked into the zone as you're going through the various different departments, seeing it all go down. And that's, again, something that I go to, which is something that I've talked about with other movies that I've reviewed in the past, things like Dunkirk or Warfare. This is, again, a movie which very much keeps you in the middle of a situation as you're seeing it unfold. And you're really with these characters in that moment of time, which is suspended. You're getting different vantage points in this particular case, and how all of that plays out. There's almost like this play like quality to it, I should add. But I also really like that it, again, just keeps you locked into that. So the way that it executes all of that, I think that's where Bigelow really excels. It does sometimes, lack a little bit more with some of the characterization, though, especially because there are more things that are set up with some of them. There are dynamics personally which are, brought into the fray, and there are moments with them which really give you the sense that, look, if this happens, here's what you're going to lose. But then the situation is so tense, you can paradoxically also say that, well, listen, we're in the middle of all of this right now. We can't really go into some of those dynamics, which is there, but it does sometimes, feel like there are things which do feel a bit unresolved. And while I think that the movie is very solid, I will say that it does have what might be a very dividing ending. I think what they do towards the final act of the movie, they make a choice in how to, wrap up the story that you're seeing unfold. And it does end with this sort of feeling where you might see it and might not be happy with where, things leave off. And you might say, okay, well, I don't think that was great. Conversely, you might really like the choice that they make. But I am very curious to hear what everyone's opinion on that will be. Because again, there are moments to it where I feel like, it might just be very dividing for some people. There are moments of A House of Dynamite, though, that were definitely a little more eerie to see in some cases, because when you look at the real world at the moment and you see some of the tumultuous events that are taking place, when you see the news and stuff, there are echoes, little sprinkles of things that are in here that every now and then it just evokes something. And to have this movie coming out right now, it just makes it feel a lot more distressing. And I think what Bigelow does when it comes to directing the movie and bringing that story to screen with Noah Oppenheim's script, I think she did a really solid job. And again, it's just made for an even more intense experience. And so I do recommend checking out A House of Dynamite. I thought it was very good overall. I don't think it's the best Kathryn Bigelow movie by any means. I think she's definitely made much greater films, but I think it's still solid work nonetheless. And it's a movie that I just think it's a very solidly done political thriller that is worth seeing. I'm gonna give A House of Dynamite an 8 out of 10. So it's out in theaters right now, like I already mentioned, but it'll also be on Netflix on October 24th. However, the thing about streaming movies is that they seldom make it to the big screen sometimes. So if you have the opportunity to see the movie on screen before you get to see it on Netflix, I recommend just taking that option instead, because I mean, sometimes when it comes to the screen and the sound and all that, that's something that you can only experience in a movie theater. So just something I thought I'd mention. Guys, thank you very much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.